Hi, Sam's here again, and welcome to the Quarterly Book Club. Why quarterly? Because you're busy and books are long. So this quarter one of 2019, we are reading the young adult book Pointe Claw by Amber J. Kaiser. So this is one that I did enjoy. I'm not typically a young adult reader. I've just had a string of bad luck in ones that are not great. So this one, it went a whole different way than I thought it was going to, but we'll get into that in more detail in just a little bit. Joining me today is going to be my friends Ashley and Alanna, a bunch of A's and an S. We're going to get deep into this, dive right in, and spoiler alert, we do say it again, we're going to be getting into all the details of the book, what happened, all maybe the twist in the middle, and that's what we're doing. So enjoy Pointe Claw by Amber J. Kaiser. Of things opening, and we opened a book and read it over this last quarter. I think we all finished it a little early. We were actually by the way, hi, I'm Sam, and with me is Ashley and Alanna. Say hi. Hi. So I want to start off talking. We read Pointe Claw by Ashley or Amber. See, I have an Ashley here. Our conversation beforehand just threw me a little bit for a loop. I'm like, man, I've got calm on the brain. Amber J. Kaiser, spoiler alert, if you've never watched one of these, we talk about the book in its entirety, and so if you've never read it, watch at your own peril. So
you're gonna get spoiled.
So spoiled. One of the main reasons I picked this, I'm not a YA reader. Not typically a YA reader. I think I've just had a string of bad luck of reading a lot of YA because I'm just like, the insta love ticks me off. It's so annoying. The angst, I think, is so over the top. It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
What is relatable to those adolescents with all their hormones?
Well, relatable in the loosest of terms. But I know you are. I'm just teasing it. But I've just had not great luck with how. With YA, I've read The Hate You Give, which I did think was very good. But when YA won to be the 2019 genre, I was like, dang it. But I chose the book, so I hope they're good. So, but I loved the cover. It's so pretty. It's got the bear and the ballerina, and I love ballet. I danced as a kid, but not ballet, and I love this.
Apparently, the author was inspired to write this book by a picture of like a ballerina and a feral girl.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think that's like.
Yeah, I think she said that she was a ballet dancer too. Yeah,
ballet dancers. Did you dance ballet?
I did not. My daughter does right now.
Okay. So that counts.
Yeah. So she's 4, and so she's
so
not.
You knew
she's
the
not
terminology.
A little bit, yes. I'm just like.
I'm like, I've got to look this one up. I don't know. Like, I know pirouette. That's it. Other than that, I was like, ooh. But yeah, no, I thought. I loved reading about the ballet parts, but so what made you want to say yes when I posted I need guests?
I have a daughter. I also have a son. Everything I read now is for young children. It's not young adults, young children's books. I'm just like, something for grown-ups? Young adult. That's close enough.
Mentally, I'm there. It's fine.
I'm like, it's fine. We can do this. It's fine. And I do like ballet too. Like, even though I never took classes, I wanted to when I was a kid, but
yeah.
So I got my daughter, and live vicariously.
I took martial arts, so I was punching people. So, so what about you?
They're both pretty aggressive, ballet and martial arts.
Yes, very much so.
Well, when you
use the whole body.
Yeah. Well, practice your forms. Okay, so I said yes because one, I studied a bit of YA fiction, granted in Spanish, but it's kind of like a bit of my background, and also I used to study ballet. And just the description of it, I tried to pick it back up when I was in grad school, and it was too intense. So I was just like, I'm going to murder someone. So it was like, ballet dancer and like feral girl stuff. Yes, let's do this.
Did you ever make it onto pointe shoes?
I did. I I like my toenails. Like, I don't know if you, like, there's a bit of description in the book, and it doesn't get as, like, it's pretty graphic, but it's, like, does not quite encompass, like, yeah, this hurts a lot. My feet are bleeding. I actually lost a toenail a few, like, last year just from running, and it just, like, brought up bad memories. No.
Yeah, after I read this, I watched, like, 3 documentaries on ballet and like the big companies and the shows and stuff and the kids coming up in it, and it was really fascinating. So I was like, oh, someday I hope to have a little girl and I can thrust her into something.
That's exactly what I did.
Live vicariously through your offspring.
Well, you know, that's what parenting is all about, right? Basically. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is that Amber J. Kaiser, did tweet us when we first started this, and we had a little conversation on Twitter, and I was like, oh gosh, I hope no one thinks they have to like the book. Because as, you know, I'm a writer, we all do creative works here. Like, we're all very active, you know, in our creative communities. Not everything is for every person.
Right.
So when you guys talk about this, I want you to be honest, because I know she can take it. She's an author.
And a ballerina.
Yep. There you go. So she can take criticism.
She's hardcore.
Yep. And not everything's for everyone. And that's and this sounds like I'm gearing up to say something really bad. But
Are you?
It's so, no, actually, I really did. I enjoyed the book a lot. It wasn't at all what I was really expecting it to be, and I was very happy it wasn't some of the bad luck YA books that I have read in the past that I was like, oh, I can't stand this. So I thought it was very different and covered a lot of very different themes. So let's start talking about the themes. Whoever would like to go first. I don't want to boycott this. This is about you guys being here, and, you know, so, which I appreciate. So what's, let's start with, like, our favorite part of the book. Like, what
Oh man,
did you
the descriptions of the actual dance and like routines and movements? Like, when I was reading, it's like I could feel it in my body. It's like those were on point, pun intended. I'm not sorry.
I wouldn't be either.
No.
Pun away.
Yeah. So those were like my absolute favorite things, and then the parts where Dawn would she go on her scientific rants in layman's language. I loved how their professor would always be like, hey, this is a great idea, but like we're a little more formal here at Stanford.
Yeah. She's like, calm down a little.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Dawn was a bit much at times.
Could be.
Yeah.
She's very socially awkward.
She's extremely socially awkward. Her one friend was yanked away from her when she was young, and she clearly never recovered from that.
Yeah. Definitely sort of fractured psyche there, wanting to stay in that safe bubble, you know. I think that's something everyone, like, my best friend and I, we've been best friends since we were 7 and 8. Aww. So this always made me think of, like, Courtney and I. Hi, Courtney. You know, we're still, you know, best buddies. We just talked yesterday, and, you know, but what was interesting was how they were torn apart, like, literally ripped from each other's arms. At what, 9?
I think they said 9.
Around 9?
8, maybe.
What?
I don't know. You don't have a bookmarker for that?
Not that particular one. Yeah, I've got all my. Where are they now? I can't find one. Here we go.
Pre-adolescence.
Yeah, all my book darts in here, which I love them. Well worth the money. But mostly I picked out quotes that I really liked. So. But any moments that, who did you like better, Jessie or Dawn? Who'd you relate to more? I guess I should say that's a better way to.
Probably Jessie. Like I'm not a dancer. Like Sam and I, not you, Sam, my boyfriend Sam. We have taken a few like ballroom dancing lessons. So like that's the extent of like my dance training. And any choreographer I've ever had will tell you that's the extent of my dance training.
Aww.
But I did always want to take ballet, but we are all actors and performers and everything. So like that's something that I know that we all relate to, like preparing for something. And then like she didn't get the ballet that she wanted, and like we've all been there as well. And so I do relate to Jessie more than Dawn, but Dawn was just fascinating. Just like
very interesting.
Yeah.
What about you? Who did you relate to more?
To be honest, they both took a while to grow in me. But Jessie, for like multiple reasons, I spoke on, and like the dance thing and just being like doing her own thing in a city away from her parents, and just that moment where like, hey, you were my one friend. Like she had made other friends, but still she never got really close with anyone else. Like you were in this because like, or like what was it? Her parents didn't discuss things, and now I'm getting them overlapped. Like they happen, like it happens in the book. I don't like. I want to like Dawn. Like I feel like she raises a lot of like valid, relatable points. But it was just really like there's just something about that character that's just like I can't. Like I know
she's a lot to take.
She's a lot to take, but it's
quite intense.
I feel like there's just too much going on with her, just even from like a creative standpoint, a writer's standpoint. It's like okay, I feel like the ease into whatever she's transforming into, like whatever that transformation, I feel like that could have been handled better as a creative. But otherwise, the idea of Dawn, I really like it. It's like, oh, she's this feral girl. But like that also brought up questions like, so she's off in the wild doing her thing, and she and Jesse are supposed to be like allegedly one element. How does that work? So
yeah, like a yin and yang, you know, they're exact opposites. And I completely, to parody, oh my gosh, to parrot what you guys are saying, but being the performer, like I've, you know, as growing up in martial arts, I was fought competitively. So the mental preparation to do something like that is a lot in sports and competition, and then performing wise, you know, because it's all very similar in the head, how you got to prepare for stuff like that. Like your audience, okay, either you're scared of the audience, need to get over that, or you're just like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to slay you, you know? So it's, can go at it in many different ways.
Yeah.
The parents, the parents in the book, I mean, the mother, Dawn's mother, really irritated me.
I could see her so clearly.
She was meant to. Yeah.
I know this person. I've met this person several times.
I know this
at various
mother.
stages of her life. She's not the worst. She does want I feel like she does want the best in the heart. She wants to be a good mom, but Dawn is just a lot. And if she, like, just the type of person she is, she just didn't have the equipment to, like, rear a child such as Dawn. And plus, like, just the way, sleeping with her child's best, or wait, it was her best friend.
It was her
husband
best friend
too.
Yeah.
So,
she had some issues.
Just a few.
And then the dad that lived in Alaska, who was
just kind of there.
The newborn,
like what was
newborn
he was
Christian,
like born again or something.
Yeah, born again Christian, and
but not like the nice kind of Christian, like the crazy kind.
Yeah.
So, like, I could have, like, let his, like, craziness slide if he hadn't said that awful thing about his daughter hurting her half-siblings. I was like, that is messed up. And, like, just made me think about a lot of the things that, like, alleged Christians say and do that are so un-Christ-like. So.
Yeah, definitely. But you, before we got to sit down and do this today, we were supposed to do this a few days ago. Poor Ashley was sick.
I had very bad laryngitis. I still hear a little bit.
Literally couldn't talk. And Alanna was getting back from a job and just wasn't, like, it just wasn't coming together that evening. So I'd asked Ashley to send me, just give me a little rundown of what you thought, so that way I can still.
Have a lot to say.
If I remember, because I did read it, and I was like, oh man, she like sent me an essay. If I was a teacher, A+. So I'll give you a sticker later. Yay. It'll say it's all been done right now. Because those are the only stickers I have.
I legit want one of those.
Yes. So,
I had a whole section on Dawn's mom.
Yeah, you had a whole section on the mom. So I just, I'll let you kind of take that.
One of the things I actually liked about her mom was that she believed Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, there was something like her stepfather who was such...
he's the worst.
Oh, he was so awful. Like, he was just like, oh, she's on drugs. Like, why do you let her do this? Like, you let her control everything. And her mom, like, didn't really defend her, but she was like, yeah, whatever. We're going to go see this doctor. And then the doctor's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. And her mom's just like, you're wrong. Something's wrong with her. We're going to go see a different doctor. And so, like, in Dawn's mind, it was all just like, oh, she just wants to have a perfect daughter. And I'm sure that was part of it. Yeah. Because, like you were saying, Alanna, like, she was not equipped to have a daughter like Dawn. She wanted a daughter more like Jessie. Yep. But she got Dawn. But at the same time, like, I really believe a lot of it was she had her daughter's well-being at heart. Like, she wanted her daughter to be healthy. And yes, she wanted her to be a perfect, pretty little blonde, blue-eyed, whatever she was supposed to be. They didn't actually give us descriptions in here of what they look like. And she definitely did want like a perfect little daughter, but she also really wanted her daughter to be healthy. And she knew something was wrong because like she even said to, I think it was the psychiatrist, that like, I've seen her transform before. And Dawn was just like, and Dawn was just like, I didn't know that she'd seen this before. So it is like, Monica's not a completely terrible parent. She is not the best parent.
Psychologically, she's not, you know, great. But as a parent, I thought it was interesting because you spotted that. I didn't necessarily see that because I do not have children. But when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, she's right. But from Dawn's perspective as the daughter, she thinks, you know, my mom just wants the perfect daughter. She wants someone to fix me. She doesn't necessarily see that her mom believes her. Yes. And I don't think Dawn wants to believe her mom believes her.
Right.
Well, like, if she was a terrible, terrible, like, mother, she could have very easily, like, followed her husband's, like, suggestion, just send her off to a home. No, even before then, could have just sent her off to a home, made her ward of the state, but she stuck with it.
She did.
So.
Yeah, which as teenagers, which we all were at one point, we don't always see it that way. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of hurt there.
As the parents just don't understand.
But also, so you know, it was obvious that Monica wanted a daughter more like Jessie.
She did, yes. Because like that was one thing that she'd said to Dawn too when she and Jessie finally got back together and were seeing each other again. She was like, Jessie's just so pretty. Like, can you believe like this is Jessie? Jessie's
a perfect little ballerina.
And Dawn, like to her credit, didn't like tell her mom just like, you know what, shut up. She was like, yep, you're right. Jessie's fantastic.
Yeah.
But like you know that was Dawn's mentality, just like, oh, this is the daughter that she wished she had. Yeah. When I think part of it is definitely that, but also I think Monica's trying to relate to her daughter and she's trying to talk to her and connect with her and do something to like make their relationship a little more normal, even though it's never gonna be normal.
But as you were talking, it also struck me that the opposite I think is kind of true of Jessie's parents. They're not really supportive of the ballet.
No, they're not.
I think they would have rather had someone more academic like Dawn. So they wanted each other's daughters. Instead, they got each other's wives and husbands.
Yes.
Which part of me saw coming, and the other part of me was like, I don't know if that's the road she's going to go down. Yeah. So what did you think when that reveal happened, that the parents were having an affair?
Well, it makes sense. It's like when I heard that they just were separated, it's like, oh, it's because they're like fooling around. It's like, no, they're kids. That's kids stuff. There has to be something more, and just the fact that there was that complete separation, like as someone who moved around a lot when I was younger, like I still like maintained a lot of those friendships I had like when I was younger via phone, pen pals, but there was just like an absolute like cutting off. So when it was like, oh, I was surprised that they were best friends. Like if it was like, oh, this is my daughter's playmate's husband, that's a little different, but I was like, oh, that was your best friend. I could see why there was a complete schism there.
Yeah, complete. Cut off all contact there. And then, that was the part that surprised me too. I was just like, oh, just like, Monica doesn't seem like she's, you know, completely selfless. She's got some of that selfishness. Just like, oh, here's a hot guy that I like. But then finding out that it was her best friend's husband, I was just like, yikes. Oh, man. There's a line somewhere, Monica, come on.
And then it was never spoken about among the children. The kids were left to believe that they were torn apart because of what they were doing. So to me, one of the things that I really thought of one of the themes that really stood out to me was like young women's sexual awakening. You know, because there's a lot of that in this. You've got Jessie and the ballet dancer, and I think a lot of that primal aspect of Dawn is very sexual as well. So
I kind of thought of this as like, oh, this is like a PG-13 Black Swan, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I just kept going through. I was like, oh, this is totally like Black Swan for babies.
That's a great way to put that. Yeah, I like it.
I haven't seen Black Swan.
Oh,
it's been years.
It's wonderful.
Since it first came out, I haven't seen it since.
With like the Vincent Cassel scene when he's just like, I'll give you more if you like. When she's dancing with Vadim and he's like, oh, we can't like actually kiss or do anything closer because we need it for the dance. And it's like
the tension and the sexual rise and
just like the like savagery of the, was it turbulence?
Yeah. Loved it. I thought that was great. And, it made me, a long time ago, friends, girlfriends sitting around talking, we were talking about, and this question kept coming up as I was reading it, was, what was your sexual awakening? Like what celebrity or what's the thing? And I was just like, oh, we don't have to answer anything, but that's just, that was just the question.
Jesus, I don't know.
No, we don't have to answer. No, but that
Starts with a J, ends with a bloom.
Oh, but that was the thing that I just kept thinking of, was that conversation that I've had in the past, was like, yep. So I thought that was for me, that was just something that I guess related to throughout the whole book, was like, wow, this is all about, you're like finding yourself, and your identity, and, and I loved that the author was ambiguous in a lot of things, and sort of let you figure it out for yourself. I'm a fan of that.
I like it too. There's just some point, like it still feels very loosely put together as a whole story, which is fine. Like my mind is like, either some of those details need to be filled in, or this book, it needs to be longer. Like,
do you have any specific spots?
Oh man, they're just like a lot of the relationships, like, are Jesse and Donna, or they're like, would they be girlfriends, or are they just like literally like the same person, or like, the ending I'm not so much. I'm like, that could be whatever. That is an ending. Like, Dawn literally walks off into the sunset, into the woods, and
she became a bear.
Becomes a bear or a wolf, or she's a feral person. She's a new species. Which, all right, so this is like where my issue came. It's like, okay, so there are so many. I can't remember too many correlatives. There's a literary phrase I'm just blanking right now, but it seemed like there's a lot going on. So we see throughout, she goes into these fugues, but like, and as apparently turning into a new species. So like, okay, so we have this scientific aspect, and now we have this sci-fi aspect,
right,
and then we have this ballet aspect, and there's this like sexual awakening aspect, and then there's like this lesbian romance aspect. There's like just a lot of different things.
You want the closure on it, at least a couple of those.
It's not even like,
I do.
Yeah, closure on a couple of those, or just like focus on one thing. Like, again, I don't know. I can just hear my poet. I can hear Dr. Gray in my head saying there's too much going on in this poem, even though this isn't a poem.
Right. Because this was only 275 pages.
Yeah.
So, 275 pages. And it was a really quick read. Like, the chapters were short. Like, even something like this, Jesse and Dawn, you have a little bit of both right there.
I like that some of those chapters mirrored each other when they were like very short.
Yeah. I thought overall it had a good balance between the two girls. I read another book where it was from different perspectives, but they didn't spend enough time on where there wasn't balance between all of them, and you got way too much of this, not enough of this, and that drove me nuts.
Was this book As I Lay Dying?
No. This book was Station 11.
Okay.
Which was still a good book. I mean, it's a good read, but just the characters that I cared about, there was not enough of, and too much of what I didn't care about. But I thought she had a great balance between the two characters.
Yeah. I felt like we got to know them both pretty well.
Yes.
Cool.
I am a bit disappointed. I know it's YA fiction, but like there's so much build up to it. It's like, why didn't they actually like explore and have sex as teenagers or adults? Like, that was one of my big things. Like, it was almost
a kiss.
There was a
that
kiss,
was it.
and then there was like a go for it, and then there was like shut down by some, I can't remember exactly, like a fugue, or she wasn't in the right state, which is good because it should be consensual.
Yes.
But I don't know if it was a shyness of the author. It's like, you've kind of been hinting at this building at this entire time. Do the damn thing. So, I don't know.
No, I hear you. And that's why like discussions are great when it comes to books. Like the last one you were on, Lost City of the Monkey God, I was kind of like, okay with the book until I started discussing it. Then I was like, this book is so much better now that I've discussed it.
Yes.
So, and because we all, people are going to have different opinions, different views, and then when you express them and you see them, that the book becomes better or worse or stays, So, to me, the conversation makes the book better, but it's also exposing things that I was like, oh yeah, I would have liked that too.
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked a little more maybe some chapters of that, more of them together.
See, that's how I said something
yeah.
in my notes. I'm like, because at least on Jesse's side, I felt like their relationship seemed forced.
Right.
Yes.
And Dawn was very much obsessed with Jesse from
Yeah.
way back when. But Jesse, they're just like, oh, Jesse and Dawn are Jesse's like, oh, she kisses me, and I'm just like, is that something you were even into? Because I've gotten nothing from your chapters that even imply that that's something that she was even thinking about. So I'm like, I definitely would have liked more in-depth or chapters to explore that, to see where it went or where it came from. Because on Jesse's side, it felt very forced.
I feel like
me.
that's a way of how she mentioned how her family doesn't speak about such things. I feel like kind of that her surface reaction, which it's with theme and the theme with that. But one of the things about Jesse's writing, because it's so reserved, I feel like we get a lot of Dawn's cerebral life because she's just out there. But just the way Jesse was raised in the ballet, there's so much there's a lot of work to make it look like you did nothing.
Yeah.
I wish that the author would have delved more into that type of thinking, just to kind of all right, we have these same layer. We can't look at Jesse and Dawn at the same level of thinking in a way of writing. I feel like Jesse could have been a little more layered to really capture does she interest in this? It's we definitely know she's interested in Vadim because it's that thing that was brought out in her because she likes to take risk.
That fierceness and the feralness coming out.
So it's there. So I feel as far as time spent on the page, she got equal letters, I guess. It's not screen time, but page time. As far as the way they communicate, I feel like there was way more emphasis on the feral wildness versus the subtle, really intense depth. As someone who's an introvert, but also really intense. So,
yeah. Cool. And both girls are definitely different, and I agree. I think that who knows if she comes out with part 2, you know? But Dawn was a little stalkery.
A little bit.
Yes.
A little creepy.
Dead animals. Ooh.
Yeah, sort of the precursors of a serial killer.
Well, she does. Yeah.
Which I don't, the things that she studies, she's got a very scientific mind, so I don't think and she wants to protect animals and stuff like that, but it's just, the things that happen in her fugue states that we get hints at, and then we have to fill in the rest,
Wow, getting picked up on the side of the road by a stripper, that is...
While she was completely naked?
Yeah. I was that is something. But I that is such a visual scene, and I'd love to see this made that into a short movie.
It's just
I was thinking
moment.
that too, Vanessa, I'm just man, I need to see this movie.
Yeah,
is
a
this
short
a movie? Can we make it a movie?
And I love that moment where Jessie, the ballet dancer, meets what was her name, the exotic dancer, and they had the similarities, which I thought about. I remember when I was a little more naive, I'd tell people oh, I'm a dancer, and they're oh, you're a dancer. I'm no, not like that.
I did an interview. I was in we did this interviews in cars thing, and I was the only girl in the car, and the interviewer's driving, and I'm in the back seat. I've got Nathan and I think Jimmy, and then someone else in the front seat. I can't remember who, but we were talking about, I was oh yeah, no, I used to dance back in the day, and he was oh, where'd you dance? And I was oh, I did some Broadway and jazz and stuff like that, and it wasn't until later that I was oh, he meant club. He thought I was a stripper.
See, exactly.
Which there's nothing wrong with being a stripper, but I was
work.
Oh, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
So it's so I had such a delay.
Well, it's just when you come from a dance. Well, there are a lot of similarities, which is highlighted when they're oh, the Vaseline on the teeth, so you're smiling the entire time, or
I do that too.
You're focusing the stage, you take care of this. I've got to go to work. It's that same mindset. So I love that little peek at the similarities. How she could very easily be on the other side of that.
Which is so good, so good. I was a cheerleader, so Vaseline on the teeth too. I understand that. Yeah. On smiling until your cheeks hurt.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Practice with a pencil before you. Yeah. Okay.
Yay, video. So we're on all that Vaseline, just kind of I need water. So, talking about making this into a movie, who would we cast as the two girls? Who do you think?
See, I don't know really if the younger
There's
actors. I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of young upcoming people, but I don't know who any of them are.
I don't know their names. I think of faces.
Can you think of any movies that someone was in?
Oh.
I'm trying to think of some younger kids. Like
I know. I'm just like.
I was thinking of the little girl. Maybe as she gets older, little girl who was. Have you seen Logan?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, the X-Men movie, the badass little girl.
X-23.
Could definitely like take on
I know my
some.
X-Men.
Yeah, it was her. So X-23, she could definitely pull off like a Dawn type character as she, in her teen
I mean,
years.
she played X-23 then.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, she was pretty feral in that movie, so she could pull that off.
I'm trying to think like time travel things. Like since it isn't really brought up, I like to like mix things up. Did you know that Zoe Saldana was a prima ballerina? She chose between acting and ballerina.
And she was in Center Stage.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie.
Anytime
so
I'm
much.
sick, I watch it. That's my feel.
It's
That's my
so
feel good
good.
movie. It's my I love it.
So if we could
But I
time
didn't
travel,
know she was an actual
Yeah,
ballerina, but
she-
it makes so much sense now.
or even Zhang Zi, like she was, yeah. So like if we could time travel, I don't know any like young teeny bopper like actors, actresses.
Who's hip these days?
I know.
You're the one with like younger kids. Who do they?
Yeah, but they're what 4 and
4 and
6?
7.
Oh, 7.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 and 7.
Yeah.
So they're like not quite into the teeny bopper age
No.
yet. Like we had Backstreet Boys when we were kids and stuff like that. So during my teeny bopper years, and
Think of kids that are in things.
I don't know. Put in the comments below who you would want to
Yeah.
see because I
Help
don't
us
know all
out.
the young people.
We don't.
Like I'll see.
I think Dove Cameron is a teeny bopper right now.
Don't even know who that is.
I think she was in a Disney Channel movie, and she was in the live Hairspray they did a few years ago. She was
okay.
Amber, so she can dance at least a little bit.
That's good. I was like,
That's all I got though.
I'm trying to think of what Scream Queens because they had a lot of the younger ladies. Like there's Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
Who takes on some very serious roles. She's a talented
I feel
actress,
like
but
she'd be a little too old for this.
yeah, she'd be a little too old. But I'm trying to think. I'm thinking like that.
She'd probably
Very
play a
pretty
Celine.
look.
Celine, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
We can cast some of the older folks.
There we go.
So Eduardo.
We can cast the parents.
Yeah.
Let's see, Reese Witherspoon and I'm just kidding.
Oh God, she'd be a
There's-
great Monica.
With those pink nails.
Oh yeah.
Tapping on the thing. I know. I felt like
Stepford Wife.
for the I can't think of the comedian's name, but he was in Pitch Perfect. He was the guy who held the big like gong costume, like the contest in his basement.
Oh, David Cross.
I picture him as David Cross as like the Christian dad off in
Oh,
Alaska.
yes.
That's who I had in mind with like the beard and everything. Like
Oh,
so
God,
David
yes.
Cross as Don's father. Who's as Billy? The guy's name was Billy, right? The stepfather.
Was it Billy or was it David?
David.
Ooh, David sounds more right to me. Here you go.
Well,
I just have
Check
quotes
that real
marked,
quick.
so I'm not 100% sure on. See, that's the
He's
worst
still
thing. Like, I
find
think
it.
we all finished this like a month ago.
yeah.
So,
Something
names,
like that.
names always.
Well, the guy who
I'll find it.
Titanic, the bad guy.
Billy Zane.
That's why I called him Billy. His name is David.
Ah.
Billy
Yeah.
Zane as David.
I love Billy Zane. I think he's great.
Yeah. Like give him some like
David,
lifts.
yes.
Yeah.
Haha! Found it.
So
I got
Billy
one.
Zane and
Everybody gets one.
Reese Witherspoon as Dawn's.
Yes.
living
Like real parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And David Cross as her dad. And I don't know. I like Allison Janney as Jesse's mom.
I
So-
like Allison Janney in anything.
Well, yeah, I love Allison Janney all the time, every day, all day.
Did you see that there was a recent Family Guy episode where they're going up Allison Janney's legs and it's just going, and then you see an airplane coming across, and then Peter Griffin is like, "We respect Allison Janney and she deserves her Oscars," you know. So like we're making
She's just very, very tall.
yeah.
Like
So it's
that's a thing.
we're
She
making-
is tall.
Yeah.
We're making a joke of her because we're making a joke on her because we respect her. It was so funny. I was like,
I mean, it's a
"Damn,
nice joke. It's just like
yeah,
your legs
exactly. It was
keep 'em-
hilarious. It's just
It's a nice,
Such a
tall girl
turn.
on screen thing. So.
next you watch her in Mom, and then you see her in the shorts, and I was like, damn, those legs though.
Yeah.
But hers, like the mom is like, I don't want you. You need to come home.
Well, when she's calling, like especially those phone calls, I feel like she would like kill that part of her movie.
Well, there's no such thing as a small part.
Yes.
Every part matters.
But who do you think her dad like would be? I don't
Someone that Reese Witherspoon would have an affair with.
What's her husband's name? The guy in Big Little Lies, because he's kind of wimpy looking. Ryan Cones of Dunshire. What's his name? Adam Scott.
I love Adam Scott.
Me too. But like he can play that sympathetic, like you know. So who could be drawn away by someone who's attractive? Even in Pretty Little Lies, he's a little creepy from the show to the book, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I liked what they did, but anyway. So I think he could be someone who's sympathetic and who would call Jesse and be like, Dawn's having some trouble, you know. So, but someone with that sympatheticness.
I don't know if Adam Scott would do it.
I don't know either, but that I'm thinking that vibe.
Yeah.
So I want to say, right, so there's also the ballet instructor who's really fierce. I imagine
Eduardo?
the woman who's in there like hammering away with the professional.
Oh,
her.
the teacher.
Gigi Hadid. Yes. Where she's just like, get it together.
She's at the very beginning.
She's got the lady with that deep voice, right?
Yeah.
I love her.
Did
Tamar.
I say Gigi Hadid? That's
Tamar.
not who I mean.
Tamar. I was saying Tamar.
I'm blanking. I can't believe I just called her that. I'm thinking of. It's been a long week. Wonder Woman.
It has been a long week.
What is Wonder Woman's name?
Gal
Gadot. Yeah.
Yep, Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Forgive me, Gal Gadot. It's a double G. You should be Tamar. I think.
I think she'd kill that.
Did you see Keeping with the Joneses? I accidentally watched it, and it was like, oh, this is entertaining.
Never seen that.
So yeah.
Oh, I just saw the word boobs.
Gal Gadot.
So I picked out a few quotes that I really liked. They were talking about their tree that Dawn would talk about, like where they were hanging out. A cherry tree older than old. I run my fingers over its knobbly. Oh, that's something. Okay, knobbly silver gray bark, and pick out witch faces and monsters in its whorls. I just loved that. I thought that was cool.
It was nice.
One of the things I thought the author did that was really clever, knobbly silver gray. There's no separation between words.
Yeah.
Like Dawn thinks so quickly, and it's just like, and you can see in the writing sort of the, I guess
It's very Joycean.
very.
Jessie does it once or twice too, and it's usually when she's around Dawn.
So it's that sort of like they come back together moments mentally when they're, because there's still lines drawing them to each other for whatever reason, because they're just so very different. And the old adage, opposites attract. My symptoms are, I think, I love these little Dawn moments where she's railing about herself. I think my symptoms are constellation, directions in the sky, pointing ahead to something I haven't figured out yet. So there's just sort of a glimpse into sort of some of the items that Dawn is thinking. And I think she's more interesting than Jessie in that way sometimes. But I think there's aspects of Jessie that are more interesting. Like, I don't know. Again, it goes back to balance between the two.
I went back and forth a lot. Like there were some chapters where I'm just like, oh, because like I knew that Jessie was a dancer. I'm like, I want to read Jessie's chapters. And then I was like, this is boring. Like get back to Dawn. That's interesting. And then it would flip because like Jessie's ballet is going on, and Dawn was like, yes, you're blacking out. I got it. You're still blacking out. Yes, I understand you're angry about the animals. I got it. So it was like, it went back and forth a lot. And then about halfway through, then they both got super interesting. And I was like, okay, now let's go.
Yeah, there was a point where they were both like equally interesting. It was like, again, with Jessie, it's like, I feel like there were gaps in the writing sometimes. So it's like, okay, this is nice. Okay, we're jumping into this thing now. And then Dawn was like, okay, Dawn, I get it. You're having a moment. You're having several moments. You may not remember this moment, but let's get to the next part. Or like, I don't know, just There's a lot going on.
That was a little repetitive.
One of the things I'm really upset. We only got one visit with the doctor. The doctor actually was like, hey, actually.
Yeah,
started
giving
level.
answers.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we only see this guy once. I was waiting for him to come back, and then it was like, okay, I guess all hell is just undoing.
That's what I agree with you there, because I was super interested, because when the doctor was asking her questions and she's just starting to open up, I was like, sweet, all right, cool, because I love the psychology behind it.
Yes.
And I wanted to know more. I wanted to dive into that, what was going on with Dawn psychologically. And
I said that to you too.
Yep.
It's like, I want to know what's
I
happening.
want to know.
And I guess she turned into a bear.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, it would have been interesting just to see that transformation, like, where at least 3 visits to the guys, like, if she's in fact a new species or she's just losing her shit, like, it would have been good to see that transformation, even from his professional standpoint, or like what she imagines his standpoint to be. So,
especially once she started realizing that, like, she felt it coming on and she could stop it.
Yes.
Like, she could control it. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, I want more about this. I'm like, I want to hear more about this. I want to read more about this. I want to know what's going on. It was like the same thing. I'm like, I was really interested in the psychology behind all this, and then there wasn't much else there.
Yeah.
Which is a little disappointing.
Yeah, as I was getting closer to like the end of the book, I'm like, but you still have to answer this.
Yeah.
You still have to answer this. Oh, we're getting so close to the end.
or, like, she would track one thing and then, like, you wouldn't see the results, like, track another, or she would, like, start to track things, like, I don't know. And, yeah, I wish there was more of that. And I do appreciate the Ohio reference to the terrible tragedy of the homemade zoo.
Yeah.
But, like,
Zanesville,
it just kind of, again,
you
that kind
talked
of
about that
came
too.
out
I
of nowhere. I didn't, like, it came from a place, like, they went to the zoo and then she was, like, having all these intense feelings and transforming whatever was going on into a bear. Like, is it better to be dead or to be in a cage? But again, it just seemed like a lot. And then how cool Jessie was with just receiving what I imagine be like hundreds of dead animal pictures right before a performance, which is really
Right.
intense. And then also, like, kind of out of character for Dawn, because, like, Dawn obviously cares a lot about Jessie. And I feel like even if she was, like, losing it, she wouldn't, like, send all
Risk
this
her.
right before her
Yeah.
big show. Like, I don't know.
Do you think, like, sometimes people send things knowing that someone's not going to see it right away? I mean,
Yeah.
we can speculate all day
I've done
long,
that,
but
yeah.
Yeah, but-
you're just like, I know you're busy, I'm going to send this now, and then never, So,
Yeah.
are they going to see this or not? But you had talked about the zoo. Can you tell us a
I
little
did,
bit about that? Because I wasn't,
Yeah, this guy in Zanesville, because I remember when this happened.
because I didn't live in this area
Yeah,
at all.
this
Oh, wow.
was about 7-ish years ago, because I was pregnant with my son at the time, and I missed the part on the news where they said it was Zanesville. So I just knew that it was fairly close by. So I was just like, oh shit! I'm like, I'm driving to work. And I was like on the lookout for
Tigers.
lions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was just this guy, like, and even after I read that, I'm just like, because it said Zanesville, I'm just like, are they talking about the same thing? Like, is this a fake thing, or like, are they talking about the legit? So I actually Googled the story again, and it was this guy who just had all these animals. Like, he had, I think it was like 18 tigers. She has it listed in there, like all the animals that died, but he had like 18 tigers and lions, he had monkeys and just wolves and so many other animals. And he went a little crazy. Like, he was a very violent person. Like, he had problems, and then, like, his wife had cheated on him or something. And then he set all of his animals loose, and then he killed himself and just he apparently, one of the articles that I read was saying that he had, like, put, like, food around his special man areas and just let the animals, like, eat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty, yeah.
And then
Making's a
animal
decent
control
movie.
had to shoot all of those
Yeah,
animals.
every single one of them
It makes me
was
sad.
killed. Yeah, and especially, like, all these tigers that are endangered.
Yes.
And like, I remember, like, Jack Hanna came to Ohio from wherever he was at the time, and he was just, like, red faced, just, like, tears, like, he was devastated. And just, like, it was a really big thing at times. Like I said, like, I was driving to work, and so I'm, like, on the lookout for him. When I got to work that day, like, that was all anyone was talking about, because we were just like, what's happening? Like, what? And, like, it went on, like, all day. Like, they didn't get the last animal until, like, late that night, or maybe even the next day.
Did they
Like,
know how many there were?
They had, like, a rough idea,
Rough
I
estimate,
believe.
okay.
Like, there was one animal that was unaccounted for, and they think that one of, like, a cougar or something ate it. It was, like,
Okay.
a monkey or something. But the guy's wife had came, and so, like, she was kind of, like, cooperating and helping them with it. But she was, like, asking them, like, not to kill one of the monkeys because she had raised it as a baby, but they had to. They had to put them all down, and it was just too risky for everyone. It was a very devastating thing. And so
Yeah.
yeah, when they mentioned that, I was just like, is it the same incident? And yes, it was. Like I compared the notes because like Dawn listed out every single like how many animals had died and like what they were, and I compared the notes, and it's the same incident. I'm just like, hey, Ohio got a shout out. That's not what we want to be known for, though.
Yeah, that's an incident that's just burned in the brain. I had just moved back, so a lot of people were asking me, "Is like, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's not near me, but it's going on."
It's before the days of Facebook when you can mark yourself safe.
Yeah, it was before that. Like it was. I remember it being on Facebook. People
Yeah, it
asked
was
me, but it
definitely
wasn't
on
like
Facebook then.
I'm safe during the Zanesville Zoo tragedy or whatever. It would have been. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, it was just
Awful.
this guy that
You
just had
call
like
it
this
awful.
huge tract of land, and he just had all these animals there.
Very much like that Hobart person who's like,
Yeah,
I guess my bear. I'm like, you're awful. Like,
I think he was the one that actually mentioned it to her, said something about Zanesville. Like, I could be wrong. It could have been at the zoo. I don't remember. But that guy was crazy. And
and the way he beat the dog, like I wanted to jump into the book and
like,
just strangle him.
Handle that. Like I could, like when the dog comes, like, oh, the dog's barking, but like, oh, you're fine. Like, yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
It's like you're just making noise and you're a really sweetheart. And then he like hurt the dog. It's like I will murder you in your sleep.
Yeah, I was very like so because. People, I have a neighbor who's because I have a bully breed dog and she's so sweet, but I have a neighbor and sometimes people at the dog park are very like, and I'm like, knock it off. I had someone tell me that she looks scary and I damn near cried. I was like, she
looks
is
scary.
the least scary. I was like, yeah, your face is scary, you jerk.
Yeah.
So she's like the least scary dog in the world. She just, she's kind of a baby Huey. She's she's doesn't know her own strength. So when she's like, I love you, she loves you. So,
That's my baby too.
Yep.
He's 80 pounds, but he still jumps in my lap.
Oh, I had an old dog that was 70 pounds, and he was like an amoeba. He wasn't allowed up on the couch, but then he would do one paw and then the other paw, and then just slowly ooze across you. And all of a sudden, you're in this sea of white fur, and you're like, how did this happen?
You're not supposed to be up here.
But it's okay because I love you.
But yeah, I was really excited. I was like, I know they're not going to like cut this bear loose. Like at the end, it was like, this is exactly how this bear dies. And they addressed it. But I do like that they saved the dog.
Yeah.
He was like, here, you give a name to it. Like, I hadn't guessed what was going to happen yet. It's like, oh, so she's saying you named this dog, so she's not keeping it for herself. What is she doing? Like,
yeah, because I was like, oh, she's gonna take the dog and go live off in the cabin in the woods in the happy day, and I was like, oh, doggy. Well, the doggy's gonna have a good home. So, but it's so funny because that's how, like in movies, save the animal. I don't care about the humans.
Yeah.
And after like that's the ending, I was like, yay, the dog lives.
Yeah. Maybe in Paris, the Parisian dog.
Nelly, he's got that little, and he eats a baguette for breakfast.
Oh, baguette with cream.
Some clips. Okay, so we are getting ready to wrap up now. So give me your overall assessment. Like, dislike, good, bad.
I liked it. My roommate is in like a book club too, and like they do read some YA books. I'm just like, read this one. Like,
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, I've recommended it.
Cool. Is there, what is your typical type of book that you read?
I do read some fiction. Like I said, these days I'm reading kids' books, but like when I am reading for me, like I tend to stick to like biographies and memoirs. Yeah.
Any you can recommend that you really like?
I really liked Anna Kendrick's book, Scrappy Little Nobody, and anything that Mindy Kaling writes is gold.
Yeah, I've read one of Mindy Kaling's. I've got Scrappy Little on my on my TBR.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling has 2 books. They're both fantastic, and I just recently, like while I was waiting at like the doctor's office the other day, I was like, I got one of them on my phone. I was like, let's read this one again. And
well, she narrates her audiobook too.
Does she?
Yeah,
she should. She's fantastic.
Yep. So overall, what did you think?
I want to like it. I kind of dislike it. I'm on the fence. Like I just want more. Like I feel like I think it's a good attempt, and I feel shady saying that. But I'm like, I want to like it so badly. Like overall, I guess I like it, but I want
you liked
a revision.
it enough to want more.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I want like enough to want more. But I have a hard time giving. Like I would definitely recommend other people to like read it. I'm just like a tough critic sometimes. So yes, do read it. Yeah. Do you tell me if you want more Jessie? I want more Jessie. I want less feral, like just to draw, because like I feel like the book is so feral and wild.
Yeah.
But there's not enough of that like perfect, grace, beauty, which is overrated a lot of the time, but I feel like it needs more of that to be a balanced book.
So what types of books do you typically gravitate towards?
I read all sorts of things like poetry, nonfiction, fiction, YA fiction sometimes. I just like I like to go to the bookshelf and like grab what jumps off at me. I just picked up this book about it basically simplifies some physics stuff. It's like the 10 laws of like the universe or something like that. I don't know the exact title, but it's like this teeny tiny book, and it's it's
a
science.
cool little read.
Yeah,
I like science too. Any recommendations for our audience?
Our audience, I love
Maybe
this
a
book.
poet.
For the time being, and I'm blanking on the author's name. It's actually a fiction book, so
Cool.
For the time being.
For the time being.
The audiobook is read by the author, and she's wonderful at it.
I love when they do that. I love reading. And speaking of books, our next book, you guys each get a copy.
Huzzah!
This is Looking for Alaska by John Green. So you each get a copy. Yay.
Looking for Alaska. Is it baked Alaska?
If it was, I would go look for a baked Alaska. I'm good with that. I've read one John Green book, Fault in Our Stars, and I bawled my eyes out. One girl that I work with is like best friends with him. Not name dropping because it was just like we were on a special project together, and then she was kind of name dropping, but which was fine, you know. It was just kind of came up in conversation. I was like, well, tell him
my friend wrote
that I read that book in a day, and I bawled my eyes out. Like next to my bed, there was just a pile of tissues. So I expect very similar. One of Dallas loves this book. He said it was really good. So I was like, cool. But that is our next one, John Green, Looking for Alaska. So tell us what you thought of Pointe Claw in the comments, on Twitter, on Facebook, at IABD Presents, Instagram.
And she'll answer you if you tweet her.
Yeah, she's Amber is super active on her Twitter account, so go find her. She was really nice, and I was very surprised to get the tweet back, and I was like, so.
When I finished the book, I actually tweeted at her, and she responded pretty quick too, and I was just like, and I was saying something really stupid too, but she answered.
Yeah, she's really active and very has been very nice about it. So I hope y'all like it, and I hope you like Looking for Alaska. Do you guys have anything to plug? Anything you're doing?
You could follow us on our social medias. I don't know. Do you have one to plug? Always have one to plug.
I don't have anything coming up. It's all been done radio. I've got in
Theater Roulette.
June or something.
Yeah.
Yes, you have roulette.
Yeah, Theater Roulette. There's always stuff at Mad Lab Theater.
Yes, always go to Mad Lab.
At Mad Lab Theater is the Twitter,
at
and
Mad
Twitter
Lab
and
Theater.
Instagram.
Yep.
The Twinstagram, if you will. You find me there.
The Twinstagram. The Twinstagram book.
Twinstagram bunker.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so yay.
Yay.
See y'all later. Keep reading. Huge thank you to Ashley and Alanna for joining me today to talk about Pointe Claw. Greatly appreciate their time. Super exciting news is that I am moving. I just bought a house, so as of this taping, I have not closed yet, but I do that tomorrow. And we are going to say goodbye to our creeper couch. So I hope you enjoyed it in the meantime. Creeper couch. We always have to promise people that we're not going to murder them on it. So say goodbye to the couch. Next time you see us, it'll be in a new place, new spot, new location, and it'll be super exciting for me at least. I don't think you'll care, but it's all good. So please, this wonderful production is part of the wonderful group IABD Presents. So please go to IABDpresents.com and find all of the wonderful things out there. There's written work. There are other reviews like this. There are podcasts, other videos, some awesome stuff there. I'd really like to highlight one of the shows that that I really do enjoy. It's All Been Trekked. There's a group of people that it's a podcast, and they are talking about Star Trek, and they're watching the entirety of the Star Trek catalog from beginning to end, and they're into the animated series right now. So go listen. It's a lot of fun. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at IABD Presents. And I'll catch you on the next one, Looking for Alaska by John Green. Thank you so much for watching Quarterly Book Club. Have a good night.